Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, the channel focuses on the ins and outs of living abroad in the beautiful country of Poland. Now, for today's video, we're going to be talking about my personal experience being a gay individual living here in Poland. Let's get started. Before I start this video, I definitely have to put a disclaimer. This video is based solely on my experiences living here in Poland. And I don't want to minimize the experience of anyone else that is foreign, that lives in Poland, or who has visited Poland. And I definitely don't want to exclude the experiences of people, Polish people who live here in Poland that are LGBT plus individuals. So I want to put out this disclaimer that I'm talking specifically about my experiences here in Poland. So I've gotten that out of the way. This is a video that I wanted to publish when I first started this channel. However, I have to be really honest, I was a bit scared to do that. And so I had to have a conversation with myself in my mind about potentially my own internalized homophobia and about how I think people might think of me or what people might think of me after seeing this video, which is relatively silly. I present as more or less as a cis male. However, I do consider myself, and I think I am presenting somewhat as a feminine male. Now, I'm not as feminine as other men can be. However, I do not see myself as this kind of straight acting gay person. I do see that I have some feminine characteristics, and I even dress kind of on the feminine side. However, with that said, and me just being me, my experience in Poland as a gay person has been relatively positive. I haven't had any negative experience being gay and specifically being me and presenting the way that I present in the world and how I move through the world. I believe living in Poland has kind of rubbed off on me in that I find that I am a little bit more reserved in my personal life. And so I've kind of adopted some of that, I guess, conservative view on kind of keeping my life a bit more personal versus when I was in the States. But when I think about my situation here in Poland, as you know, I work for a language school, a private language school here in Poland. And I didn't come into the job differently than how I'm presenting now. I didn't come to my job with this facade or pretenses or anything. I came the way that I am. I present the way that I am, and I haven't had any problems when it comes to getting clients or retaining clients due to my sexuality. Now, that doesn't mean that maybe clients or maybe people have a negative feeling about my sexuality or how I present in the world, but that hasn't affected my ability to work, and that hasn't affected the client retention that the company has. In addition to that, I have to say that being gay in Poland, also when it comes to my personal life, so when I'm not at work, I'm not at home, and I'm just moving about, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm not sure if people are staring at me because obviously I'm Black and I am a minority here in Poland, or they're looking at me because I'm a little feminine. So I can never tell. However, that hasn't turned into any violence. And now that I do understand Polish to some degree these days, I haven't heard anyone kind of openly talking about my sexuality or how I present myself in the world. And a past video, I do talk about how I've been called the N-word, and there have been rare occasions, but it has happened here where people talked about me due to my race and for most of those times, it was more out of curiosity than I would consider like hatred or ill intentions. One thing that I have really noticed here in Poland is that people that are my age, so I am 38 years old, and people that are my age that are gay or that fall on that spectrum, wherever they fall on that spectrum, are really closeted. So, unfortunately, because of that, I don't have any friends that are my age. In fact, my partner and the majority, actually, not even the majority, but yeah, the majority of my Polish friends are younger. And so I think that kind of tells you a little bit about society here is that the older generation, our generations are not as accepting when it comes to LGBT plus individuals versus younger people are a lot more open and kind of see it as our normal or see it as normal diversity that exists within the human population. But, you know, I always try to add this element in my videos, even if I don't say it, is that you really can't trust what I'm saying. And I would argue that you should never go based upon one person's experience. And so when you look at Poland, if you Google Poland and you look at some of the laws here in Poland or some of the things that have happened in Poland in recent time, you'll see that Poland is really conservative, just like a lot of its other stances when it comes to LGBT plus rights. And when I say conservative, you have to definitely take that with a grain of salt, and you have to kind of define that differently than when you would compare it to some other countries when I say conservative, in the sense that Poland is conservative when you compare it to other European nations. And with that, Poland is probably, if I'm correct, Poland is one of the only nations in the EU or in Schengen that doesn't have civil unions for either straight people or gay people. So in Poland, you cannot have a civil union. It is illegal. And so therefore it's illegal. It's not even on the table. So civil unions are not okay here in Poland for LGBT plus individuals. Here in Poland, also gay marriage is not allowed. So it is not allowed here in Poland. A lot of countries have in recent time adopted gay marriage, or for instance, Hungary. Last I've checked, Hungary actually allows gay people to have civil unions. So here in Poland, it's impossible to get married. And because it's impossible to get married, it's also impossible to adopt children as a gay individual or a gay couple. I've met one lesbian couple that does have a child, but they were able to conceive that child. One of the partners had the child, and so therefore they were able to find a way to have a child. But right now in Poland, I wouldn't be able to adopt a child, and I wouldn't be able to get married. Also, I'm sure you've heard, especially if you're European, about these kind of LGBT plus free zones in Poland. So Poland has kind of all the laws that most Western countries have when it comes to gay rights. And however, Poland is a bit of a contradiction. So it has all those laws that all of its neighboring countries have. So similar to Germany or similar to France. But with the political scene, there was a time here in Poland, or even till this day, that some areas have declared themselves as LGBT plus free zones. So otherwise saying that, LGBT plus people are not welcome in those areas. However, it's illegal to discriminate against LGBT plus people, and that's on the law. Now, that's in the books. But if that is being practiced everywhere in Poland, I'm not sure if that's being practiced everywhere in Poland. But I have to say that it's kind of similar to the States in the fact that, like, in the States, like, there is gay marriage. But just because there's gay marriage and there's all these rights doesn't mean it's practiced um, in Poland or it's practiced in the USA. So you're probably thinking, what does this boil down to? It boils down to the fact that if you are a young queer person, I probably wouldn't recommend you to move to Poland. Um, but again, if you are a young queer person, I probably would recommend you to move to Poland. It's about the experience, right? And it's about moving to places that challenge you and moving to places that are different. Now, Poland is not an unsafe place for queer people. It is not a place where I feel like I'm going to be persecuted for my sexuality or I'm going to be discriminated against to the extent that I can't work and I can't have a livelihood or I feel unsafe moving around and walking around. However, it is not like places like Spain or places like France, specifically in their capital cities, where there's not just a tolerance for LGBT plus people, but it's a normal thing. It's just like diversity that exists in those countries. The biggest thing that I'm doing here with this particular video, and this always chokes me up, so I might cry, and that's okay. It always chokes me up. For me, the most important thing is representation. And I didn't necessarily realize, and I definitely didn't want to sign up to be like this ambassador of Black people or this ambassador of LGBT plus people. However, here in Poland, I find that it has been something or has become something that I'm quite passionate about, and not even in doing anything, but just existing. And I love the fact that I get to be here and I work primarily with children and I get to show them that diversity exists and it's normal. And it's okay to be different, and it's okay to be a man who is not this like definition of what society calls a man. It's okay to be a man that's slightly feminine, and it's okay to be a woman that is masculine. It's okay to be trans. All these things are okay. And although Poland is not the most accepting country in the world when it comes to LGBT plus people living their lives and fully expressing themselves and having all the rights and privileges that their straight counterparts do, it is not the worst country in the world to be a person who is queer or a person who is gay. With that, I have to really say that being here, I understand that I am an outsider to a degree. And so therefore, I know that the standard that Polish people, specifically queer Polish people, are under, or the stress that they're under, or the discrimination that they face is totally different from what I face. And so I just want to commend all LGBT plus people in this country who are visible and who are fighting for equal rights and treatment under the law and within the culture here in Poland. Anyhow, if you like this kind of content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And I definitely can't wait to see you next week.